Personalization doesn't have the right impact within B2B. Well, I've heard that, and personalization has to be properly executed for the right results. I mean, personalization, I always say, that's king right now. It's got to be, again, going to our friends with Sirius. What we looked at is personalization usage. Everything from some website responsive, serving up suggested information based off of where they're at on the website, what type of content are they looking at. That's actually personalizing it. And what we're starting to see is that 46% of sales teams are absolutely using personalization these days, and the trend for marketing is 71% are actually using highly personalized content based off of behavior. Future spend, 49% are looking at increasing their spend greatly or significantly in how to better execute on personalization. Now, Sirius looked at it this way with the personalization model. I can say that. The right strategy. I mean, they're taking a look, right strategy, right design, right delivery to get the right return. It's funny, sometimes we just tend to shoot from the hip and spatter stuff out there as far as trying to get content out. But the right strategy, let's take a look at it. I mean, understanding some simple goals of what are we trying to accomplish and what is the audience segmentation that we're looking for to the right design. Content strategy simply is defining what content are we going to be serving up to individuals that are engaging with your brand digitally, and the right delivery method. How is this person actually engaging with us? What are the right ways to engage with them? And then obviously at the end, the return, you have to be able to demonstrate the measurement and the reporting of what type of impact did marketing have on sales? What's the revenue attribution? We look at it this way at Acton. You can see right here, we're taking a look at this one, again, this person, how they're engaging with us. But automation platforms, they've got to be designed for personalization. Having the ability to process lots of data very quickly, and it provides the results. Tracking and analyzing huge amounts of behavior and interaction data quickly for Acton is something that we do every single day. What it allows you to do is leverage all this data to support a more personalized engagement. And that's personalization in multiple categories. It's allowing you as a marketer to do something like implement an A/B testing, understand which one's actually working better, personalizing it then, and then optimizing the website based on the winners in an A/B test. That's really the easiest place to start. Recommendations, are next along the maturity curve of personalization. Recommending content and offers or products to a customer, you can do that without knowing who they are. Serving up recommendations based on the current customer's browsing history or their activity, for example, that's personalization. That's giving the lean-in effect. And then finally, individualization is the most mature. Having the first and third-party data, segmenting them ahead of serving up an offer or product. The value to you as a marketer is absolutely increased conversion rates, and then decreased time spent on trying to analyze different campaigns. So what we're seeing here, just as I click through this, is the behavioral score, 45. CRM's updated. Rep is alerted and sees all the engagement that this person has had. And additionally, what we're doing is segmenting that down a little bit differently. What we're seeing is this person is very interested in product A. So we are prioritizing the engagement and the personalization for product A. So is content king? 7 is the average number of assets that are downloaded in a considered purchase cycle. So what type should the vendor follow-up to be? Doing surveys, the follow-up should be, what we found was 62% of people that responded said, you've got to be providing us information that are specific to what we've been researching. Now, I use the phrase, rather than sending out a vanilla blah, 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 thank you for visiting our website, hey, think this might be a content piece that would be interesting to you, using engagement insights to understand this particular customer is very specific on a particular product set within your company. Don't serve them up the product of B when they were looking at A. And conversely, what happens is when you have your sales teams involved and are able to transfer all that digital information over to them, the sales team can come into it much more engaged because they know specifically what the prospect or what the existing customer is truly looking at. And so that engagement with them is very highly personalized. So again, personalized content really is the king. So, areas with the greatest adaptive potential marketing potential, and that's something that Acton would talk about quite a bit is our ideas behind adaptive journeys and using AI. Understanding what type of content in the campaign elements at the very beginning. The insights you can be able to gain from using AI, artificial intelligence. It comes down to, what content performs the best, what nurturing should be going on. As we move over to the right and we look at it, the recommendations. Again, this is using predictive analytics, but what you're basing it on is what the customer, what that digital footprint and breadcrumb is telling you. One of the pieces that we're looking at Acton is our adaptive segmentation, and involving with that, what type of content should I actually be sending to this one, or what nurturing should I use for this particular segment? A feature that we've talked about before, but is actually coming out this quarter because we're in final beta testing in the US with it, is the idea of adaptive send time. So taking that idea of learning about everything that you know about that particular customer or that particular industry and engaging with them, and that's through social, Twitter, for example, that's through email engagement, just the analytics saying the best time to send to Scott is 8:30 on Tuesday, whereas the best time to engage with Deneen is maybe on Thursday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, because what we're seeing is when they're actually opening up the emails that are being sent or they're engaging with us on a social piece, that's actually their best predictive engagement. And then leveraging the personalization piece of that as well and sending them the content that is absolutely most relevant to what they're looking for. So, getting recommendations to prospects. Initially, if we took a look at it here, email campaigns weren't generating revenue because of low interaction rates. Well, if you're just sending out content that is very generic, not targeted, and not taking into consideration how the prospect is engaging with you, that's not going to work. So the objective then is target those customers that you're looking at with a personalized content to get to the point that you can actually create a quote request across the entire customer life cycle. Get the right recommendations to your prospects. So the from and the to, basically, you want to get from disconnected sales and marketing with minimal visibility of behaviors and some really basic personalization. What you want to do is get your sales and marketing teams in alignment with each other and drive those deep behavioral insights, and then the deep individual personalization too. And again, optimizing, nurturing at every step along the way. And obviously track back the impact of those campaigns. So one of the things I wanted to show here was Bisco Industries. So they're a maker of electronic components, hardware, and fasteners, and they grew their, let's build this all the way out, they grew their conversion rate by a whopping 1,285%, They did that while increasing the number of campaigns it runs by 78%. And Avery Dennison, global supplier of adhesive technologies, is another one in there. Display graphics and packaging materials increased its email open rate 3 times with Acton's platform, and they saved countless number of hours. According to James Moat, the Director of Global Digital Corporate Communications at Avery, Acton's automated programs have tripled our email open rates and saved us countless hours of labor, and has generated so many well-nurtured leads that our biggest concern is providing enough staff to follow up on them. And that is just a huge, huge good problem to have. But what you're seeing is the inbound, outbound sales and loyalty across this framework. This is how it is actually working. Lastly, from our friends here at Sirius Decisions is, a set of program elements. It's required to deliver on the promise here, and we take a look at the action items. Ensure buy-in and interlocks between the sales teams and the marketing teams. Make sure it exists. Focus on the key categories of strategy, design, delivery, and return. And then last one here, ensure the key elements to deploy personalization have been identified and roadmapped. I call that plan twice, execute once. And in the whole process here for the demand gen, take a look at different ways to build and optimize the content, and then design and build off of those creation programs, the demand gen delivery mechanisms. Understand and optimize what is the best way to get the information to your prospects or your customers. I mean, again, you're taking a look at those digital footprints that we saw earlier, that this particular person, they just want to engage by email or by downloading content, and they don't specifically want a call from a sales development rep or a sales rep in particular. As opposed to somebody else, you're getting the insights of, they really respond well when we call, and then we're able to serve up the content to them that is designed specifically for them. And then, demand functional design and development. You transform it, become a best in class at understanding the performance and the optimal business value contribution that as marketers we're bringing to them.